Hello and happy Sunday. Hope you had a good Saturday. We certainly got some good weather this last weekend of the month of April. Yeah, let's take a look at the next slide here. Ships meet in Muskegon Saturday evening. If you're over by Muskegon, this is what you saw. Big ship coming through the channel right there. And that ship went out into the lake, and there was another ship that was just passing by. And I looked at that picture on the right from far away, and it looked like there was two ships right next to each other, and one had a great big boom or something coming off it. But if you zoomed in, you see that it was actually two ships. One was just farther out. Next picture here is kind of interesting. Wave height can change quite quickly out on Lake Michigan, and this is what we saw. You can see that gigantic mountain right there. It was a relatively chilly day at the lakeshore on Saturday. High temperature at the Muskegon Pier was just 49 degrees at 8 p.m. And the graph there shows how the waves increased. This is the mid-lake buoy, so it's not right on shore, but there's a spotter buoy out at mid-lake, and that saw the waves ramp up pretty quickly from 3 feet to about 6 feet, and then they quickly calm back down again. I got one more slide on the lake to show you here, and this one shows you a huge wave hitting the South Haven Pier. The wave crashing against there certainly shows you don't want to be out there. The water temperature at mid-lake is 39.6, and it can't be a whole lot warmer than that right at the shore. So that's another reason to stay off those piers and breakwaters whenever you see windy conditions there. Mid-lake buoy wave height peaked Thursday at 11:40 p.m. at 8.2 feet. And with the wind northwest, the waves are probably higher right along the Lake Michigan shoreline. Reed's Lake water temperature, a nice sunny day today, boosted the water temperature up close to 56 degrees. And again, there were a few people out on the lakes today, getting in a little early boating. A lot of people that are boating early are doing some fishing here. Well, let's take a moment here and take a look at our sponsors, and we'll be right back. Talk about the threat of severe weather here Monday and Tuesday.
And there is so much going on in the spring. There's so much stuff to do. It's the perfect time to be outside. And the thing that you don't want to be doing is all that cleaning, but Complete Care Concierge LLC has you covered. They are the fast, efficient, and affordable cleaning service serving all of West Michigan. They can clean your home, your apartment, your condominium, your office, your business. They can do special circumstances. They can do routine cleaning. Whatever you need, they have you covered. They serve all of West Michigan. So if you're wondering if they're in your service area, they are. And you can reach them at 616-264-1397. That's Complete Care Concierge LLC, 616-264-1397. And here's a word from our other sponsor.
When your home needs help, you might not know where to start. Why not ask Ace? We're always here to help with Ace Handyman Services. Our talented craftsmen handle everything from drywall and carpentry to doors and kitchens. We're the neighbors you trust to get the job done right. Let's get started. Book your handyman appointment today. Ace Handyman Services, bringing helpful to your home.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware.
Well, here's a look at the severe weather threat for Monday, and look at that red area off to our west. That is a level 4 severe weather threat, or a moderate outlook. I don't see that too often here. Here's what the Storm Prediction Center said. Moderate to strong instability, strong shear, and increasing forcing for ascent supports the potential for numerous rounds of severe thunderstorms. The wind profile supports supercells capable of all severe weather hazards, including the potential for strong tornadoes. Once we get into summer, a lot of tornado activity shifts to the northern plains, and you get more tornadoes in July in Minnesota than you do in Oklahoma. So it's an area that we really watch, and you can see that enhanced outlook goes up into upper Michigan, and in fact goes all the way up into Canada if you were to draw that around there. We expect some really powerful storms to develop probably around or east of Fargo, and move off toward the east-southeast. As they approach West Michigan during the evening, they will likely start to weaken a little bit as they move away from the front a little bit, and the heat of the day kind of winds down a little bit. But we will certainly have to keep an eye on things, and boy, the storm chasers are going to be out across parts of Iowa, Wisconsin, and southeast Minnesota. Now we move on to Tuesday, and the severe weather threat is generally off to the southeast of Grand Rapids. You can look on the right side there, And you can see that yellow area where the severe weather may occur. Thunderstorms will likely redevelop, and they may redevelop southeast of Grand Rapids. Timing may be such that storms will be weakening Monday night. They reform on Monday off to the southeast of us. So we're hoping we don't get a whole lot of severe weather here, but certainly something to keep an eye on. That level 2 or slight risk is especially along the northern lakeshore here for some strong wind gusts here later Monday night as those storms come through. We'll take one more look here at the area for severe weather, and look at how long that is, all along the cold front from Texas up through the Ohio Valley, all the way up into actually the edge of Canada up there, northern New York, under the gun for severe weather, and that would be Tuesday afternoon. So we'll be tracking that for you, and we'll have updates here on the blog, and hopefully we'll keep you informed if anything more threatening develops here. Okay, 66-hour precipitation. Look at the rain that's falling out in California. Most of California is going to see high temperatures today, only in the low to mid 60s. And in fact, even Phoenix, Arizona, where the sun will be out, temperatures there may only reach the upper 70s, which is a relatively cool day for late April for them. But you can see the heavier amounts of rain and mountain snows up there toward Yellowstone. Rains across the Dakotas up there, and also down from Missouri into Texas. Good portion of the country picking up on some spring rainfall here over the next 3.5 days. Taking a look at snowfall, you can see that's concentrated out west. There's a smidgen of snow that's going to fall in the high elevations of New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, and southwest Maine, but the bulk of the snow is out west, and that's a pretty good chunk of snow that's falling out there. No snow for Michigan, obviously, for this particular pattern. It's too warm for that, but we're certainly tracking that out there. Got one picture to show you from out west. This is Longmire, Mount Rainier, and this is a picture taken Saturday. A beautiful, clear day. They have more cloudy days than clear days up there, so really nice to see that. A little bit of a cloud there passing by the top of the mountain. Paradise, Washington, and Mount Rainier National Park has a snow depth right now of 130 inches. That's almost 11 feet deep, and that's pretty amazing. Mount Baker, they have ended their ski season out there, but only because the employees move on to other jobs for the summer, and so they start losing staff. But they could keep snowing. They could keep going out there. They've had 585 inches of snow this winter. March was the snowiest month of the year in the Cascade Mountains out there. So that's kind of interesting. All right, well, we have a frost advisory coming up, and we'll tell you more about that in just a second. In the meantime, it'll be a mostly sunny and pleasant day, starting out kind of chilly, but recovering back up into the low to mid 60s during the afternoon. Partly mostly sunny on Monday during the daytime, and then we have that chance of a shower or storm Monday night and Tuesday. Tuesday, mainly morning and midday, not so much late in the day. So if you got a golf league or a softball league here Tuesday night, you should be able to get that in. Dry weather expected here for Tuesday night and on Wednesday. Now we'll talk about the frost. There is a frost advisory from Muskegon to Alma South, and that goes down into covering 9 counties down in Indiana, where South Bend, Plymouth, and Angola, some of the places under that advisory. And you're probably wondering, why is there an advisory south but not north? Well, this is a convention of man. There's going to be a better chance of frost overnight in Big Rapids and in Clare, but they have deemed that the growing season has not started up there yet. Nobody's planted anything, and so that they don't do frost advisories. But they have deemed that enough people have planted stuff that from the I-96 counties to the south, they would put out that frost advisory. Kind of a marginal situation for most areas, but if you're in a low spot that normally gets kind of chilly, you'd certainly want to cover things up when you see a frost advisory like this in the spring. And we'll take a look at the forecast here for today. This Sunday starts out chilly at 35, but bounces up to 65 in the afternoon. Winds will be out of the south-southeast, but I think there'll be a little bit of a lake breeze right at the immediate lakeshore, where temperatures will probably only be in the low 50s during the afternoon. Dry air, humidity goes down to 35% during the afternoon here. High temperatures, we'll start out with the day today, and the yellow indicates high temperatures in the 60s. 50s for the green color, and you can see that green color all around Lake Michigan. So there's a lake breeze pretty much all the way around the lake. If you're all the way around the lake, if you were in Milwaukee, you're going to find a southeast wind today. If you're in Muskegon, the wind will probably turn southwest off the lake. There'll be a south wind up there toward Manistee, and as the wind comes all the way down the length of the lake, look at Manistee only gets a high of 45. So that could be the chilliest place in Michigan today. On to Monday, where the warmer air tries to make a push to the east, and we get into the low to mid 70s here. Thunderstorms will be brewing out in western Wisconsin by late in the day. You can see the cooler air that's over the Great Lakes. Temperatures will be a bit cooler along the lake, but all in all, it should be a pretty nice day on Monday, back-to-back days here, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Then on Tuesday, storms could form off to the east, and if the front hangs up and doesn't come through early enough, we'll have a better chance for a storm. Look at the high temperature in Detroit. What is that, 84 maybe? Yeah, 84 degrees it looks like. I'm looking at this from far away. That's a pretty warm day, and that is fuel for the new thunderstorms we'll be developing here and then pushing down toward Ohio and Indiana as the day goes on. Cooler temperatures off to the north as well. All right, let's go into the 5-day forecast. Sunny for today, nice day, about 65 degrees. Monday, and I put the icon for the lightning and thunder and the raindrops in the middle of Monday and Tuesday to try and indicate that that's for Monday night. So most of Monday is nice. Then we get a shower or thunderstorm here Monday night into Tuesday morning. A thunderstorm could redevelop Tuesday afternoon. Best bet for that would be down toward Coldwater, Jackson. Wednesday should be a dry day and back into the low 60s. And then we get some showers here during the day on Thursday. So plan on that for next week. Probably not an all-day rain, but just a scattered shower or two. Okay, let's take a look at the long-range outlook, and this is what you're going to see a good portion of the summer here with the heat building up over the central U.S. A little cooler pattern for New England, for the immediate West Coast, and especially in the southwestern U.S. where there could be more in the way of cloud cover holding things down. And look at how cold Alaska is. Boy, it's really been cold up there. Really very little snow melt up there so far this spring season. And Alaska's big. It's bigger than than it appears on that map. So that kind of balances out the heat that's going to be sending temperatures up into the 80s here across Montana, the Dakotas, Minnesota, into western Wisconsin. Rainfall for the period. Most of the rain out in the western United States and in the plains. They like that. That's kind of unusual to get spring rains there, but that moistens things up and keeps things on the cool side. Below average rainfall expected here for much of the first week of May. Like I said before, it should be a great tulip time in Holland. A lot of sunny weather, and the tulips ought to be looking very, very good. Well, that's a look at our weather here. Viewer question. Hi, Michelle. First of all, it's good to talk to you again.
Hello.
I do have a cat next to me over here. The cat has shown no signs of wanting to be on the blog tonight, but the cat is just sitting there, just been staring at me for the last half an hour on the sofa. Can you explain how areas with sandy soil have more frost? I live in Big Rapids. There's a lot of sandy areas for a few miles in each direction, especially west through Newaygo County, and we will get frost when others do not. Yes, the frosty soil there radiates energy better, so it would tend to cool off faster. Some things cool off faster than others. So that's the reason there. Well, you got the answer. Okay.
Well, this was my attempt to answer it, but I was sure yours was going to be better. That's why I had you go first.
Yeah, well, jump in the conversation here. Yeah. The clay, I've got clay in my house, and clay will hold the water, a whole lot more than the sandy soil will. I kind of wish I had a kind of a mix of sand and clay, because my clay is so hard. I borrowed a guy's, this is really a funny story, borrowed a guy's rototiller, okay? I'm just going to borrow it for the afternoon. And my clay was so hard, as soon as I ran it down one thing, it bent all the tines.
Uh-oh.
So I'm like, ooh, that's not so good. But you need an air hammer to attack the soils where I am here. But on the other hand, it's got its advantages too. But let me. You want to read this? You want me to read it, or?
Sure. So basically, there's the way that the soil is made up. There's more spaces between the particles, so more water can get in. then that freezes and it expands. And then, as you were saying, that the soil is more reflective, which can mean lower temperatures, and that means more freezing. It doesn't retain the heat as well.
It's like your car hood, how cold that can feel sometimes. You can get frost on a car windshield and not on the grass sometimes. So it's kind of interesting. All the soil type is something, and that area from Newaygo County over to Big Rapids does have sandy soil.
So speaking of funny stories, if you could show everyone your sweatshirt and then tell the story behind the sweatshirt, it's a pretty good story.
All right, I have a sweatshirt on that says St. Mary's School. I hope I can lead it up there. St. Mary's School. Okay. Now, back in the old days, okay, I go back into the mid 70s. Okay, I came in 74, and the first winter I came in November of 74. And none of the TV stations did school closings. Okay, school closings were Bruce Grant on Wood Radio. And if you wanted any information about schools and school closings, Wood Radio was the place to go. And they would get these enormous ratings on snow days. And so I remember going to my news director and saying, how come we don't do school closings? I mean, we don't even, at the time, we didn't even do news in the morning. I mean, we did, when I first got there, we were off the air. We actually signed off the air. We had a picture of the Indian chief that ran all night, and that was, from midnight, I think, till about 6:58. And then at 6:58, we did 1 minute of calisthenics with Jack LaLanne, and then we had the national anthem with the Blue Angels flying by. So anyhow, I'm like, yeah, we should do school closings, I mean. And then at 7 o'clock, we did the Lone Ranger on Channel 13, WCCM. Lone Ranger 7 to 7:30, and then Bozo from 7:30 to 8. And all the kids woke up to Bozo. So anyhow, I said, let's start doing school closings. So we sent out a letter with the password and everything, and I got somebody in the newsroom to commit to having somebody answer the phone. We only had one phone, so this took a while to get the school closings on. But anyhow, I get a message that St. Mary's School is closed. Okay, so I go on and I read, St. Mary's School is closed. Well, I find out there's like 6 St. Mary's schools in West Michigan. And so I just closed 6 schools all at once. So I had to start. We had a St. Mary's in, Spring Lake. There's a St. Mary's Church in Grand Rapids. I don't know if there was a school. There's a St. Mary's in Kalamazoo. There was a St. Mary's in, was it Big Rapids or Remus or somewhere up there? But there were I think 6 of them in my viewing area. So
well, Mary was one of the heavy hitters in the Bible. So
I apologized, and we went on from there. But as things, those are those little kinks that when you first start doing something, that they eventually work themselves out.
Okay,
and
so follow up to that. Who was the Indian chief that the TV station just showed a picture of on TV for?
No, it was with a full headdress and everything. That was something that TV stations did overnight.
Ooh, what chief? Like
I don't know. I
don't
remember.
The Tootsie Roll Pop when you shoot the arrow and shoot the star.
I don't know who it was, but there were some famous Indian chiefs at the time. Geronimo, of course, everybody that jumped out of an airplane would yell Geronimo because that was the symbol for bravery. Geronimo was this brave guy, and if you were a chicken jumping out of an airplane, which I would certainly be.
Now that you mention it, when we were kids, when we were jumping off things that we shouldn't, that is what we would yell.
Mm-hmm. Julie, especially daughter number 1, would climb the plates. There were these series of plates, and each one was 6 inches above another one at Pomona Park in Fruitport. And we would leave sometimes. And my last radio show was at 12:45, and I would come home, pick up everybody. We'd go to the lake, and we'd go to Hoffmaster State Park, stop at the Whippy Dip on the way home, and sometimes on the way there, we would stop at Pomona Park and let you play on the swings and whatnot. Great place to be. You're right by the end of Spring Lake there. And there was an old band shell there, which I think they still use. So there's something there for everybody. And Julie used to climb up, 6 feet high and then jump off, and she would land in the sand out there and then just giggle, and I'm like, this is the negligent parent letting my kid jump off 6-foot plate. But we got her into gymnastics, and she kind of took off from there. In fact, all you girls did. You people haven't been looking at some of the videos. I mean, look at what you can still do in gymnastics.
Yeah.
At 4 years old.
But anyways, okay, so my Facebook feed today was full of people who have relatives graduating from GVSU. So if you or a family member graduated, congratulations.
Yes, and anybody with graduations or open houses here this Sunday, it really has a good day for that.
And John Verno is teaching clarinet camp at Blue Lake this summer.
No kidding.
How fun is that? Don't you wish you played clarinet?
Well, John and Gwen, we certainly salute you and for all the wonderful serenades you gave us with the Grand Rapids Symphony and in church as well.
And Blue Lake actually has a lot of adult arts programs. So if you play an instrument or sing, there's something there for you this summer.
A lot of people don't know about Blue Lake. They run a radio station. Blue Lake Fine Arts Camp is the Stencil family, I believe, was instrumental in putting that together. A good portion of Blue Lake isn't developed. It's got forest around it, so you really feel like you're out in the North Woods, and they put on some beautiful concerts.
You and I have a good story about when we went to a concert. This was when I was in college, and we left right as a storm was coming up. And you drove at the exact speed that would make us stay in the storm the entire way back to Grand Rapids. And you thought it was the best thing ever, and I was terrified.
That remains to this day the best cloud-to-ground lightning I have ever been in.
So most people
were
would have
bolts slamming down on both sides of us, in front of us, behind us, like telephone poles coming crashing down.
I was there. So most people would have just stayed at the Bob Evans until the storm passed and then drove home safely.
Yeah, and I remember that night because Granville got 5 inches of rain that night. I mean, it just Plaster Creek went crazy. But that was I forget I think that was a July 17th, and I'm trying to think the year. You said you were in college at the time?
Yes. So it would have been, I think, the summer of 2002 or 2003.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, that remains. I mean, meteorologists can remember every bad storm that they've ever been in, and let me tell you, this one was amazing. It really was. We had a thunderstorm come through Blue Lake, and then we drove back down into it as we went south out of Blue Lake. And then we're driving down I-96, and we were driving about 45 miles an hour, which is exactly how fast the storm was going. So we just followed it right into Grand Rapids.
And someone at the Bob Evans bought you a hurricane. And since you don't drink, I got to drink the hurricane, and I was happy about that.
Well, I was driving. Isn't that amazing? Yeah.
And I've only ever seen you drink near beer.
Is the Bob Evans still there?
I don't know.
I know that there's one on 28th Street out toward the airport, I know.
Yes. Well, I missed the day Rachel of 1992 because I was at Grandma and Grandpa's house when that happened.
1998.
Oh, there was one when I was like 10.
Yeah, there was one in 1991, and there was one in 1998.
Okay, it was the one in 1991 then, because I was about 10, and I heard from Julie and Marie that you were like screaming to get down in the back seat while you were watching the storm, and you were all in the Suburban. I would say the wind at my house here hit 80 miles an hour. I saw shingles flying off the roofs on our street. I was in the Suburban. We were coming back from the beach, and I saw this thing coming at me, and it was coming at 65 miles an hour, faster than I could outrun it. And I didn't want it. We have electric wires in the front yard, and I didn't want one of those to fall on the car as I was pulling in or anything like that. So I pulled in the orchard. Well, the story I heard from my siblings was that you pulled in the orchard to watch the storm and then told them to get down so that they wouldn't get hurt while you were all sitting in the Suburban while this crazy storm went past.
Well, I thought if we lowered the center of gravity of the Suburban, that would keep it from, and I aimed it into the wind facing west. And then I was afraid that a tree would break loose and come through the windshield or something like that.
I think we need to have them on and get their versions of that episode.
Well, that could be.
But yes, driving back from Blue Lake was the makeup for missing the day ratio of 91.
Right. And I worked for Channel 13 at the time, and Channel 13 had a wind gust of, I think, 85 miles an hour. And at Peter Chan's house on the northeast side of Grand Rapids, they also had a gust to 80 something. I think it was 85 or 86. And the fastest wind we estimated was in western Ionia County. There was a home there that had substantial damage to it. And just this was all straight line winds. I went out to take a look at it. I should get the name of that road. It was on the west side of town. And there was a guy there that had a mobile home, and he had gotten tie downs on it. And the tie downs were so sturdy that the mobile home didn't move. The house, the physical, regular house, that had a lot of damage to it, but the mobile home did not. Just a couple of windows knocked out.
Oh, he did well.
Yeah.
Okay. On this day, the 18th President of the United States was born on April 17, 1822. He was born in Point Pleasant, Ohio. He was president when the Transcontinental Railroad was completed in 1869. He is featured on the $50 bill. Who is he?
Featured on the $50 bill. Can I look at well, I don't think I have a $50 bill in my wallet. Hang on just a second here. Do I have golly. I thought I had my wallet out here. I guess not. Anyhow, all right, we'll have to make this tougher. 1869. Okay, we had Lincoln. Lincoln got shot. Johnson became president. Who was after Johnson? Hayes, maybe? But
I'm going to...
This picture isn't on the $50 bill. Isn't Grant? Grant would be the next guy.
There you go.
Okay, yeah, Ulysses S. Grant.
Mm-hmm. What does the F stand for?
Steffen. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. One thing about Grant, he was in college. He set a U.S. record for, I think, the high jump. He was a track star. He used to eat a cucumber soaked in vinegar in the morning when he got up, because he thought that made it healthy. I went, oof.
Well, I guess it's probably more like a pickle.
Yeah.
And
he was once given a speeding ticket for going too fast on a horse near the national capitol. And they gave, it doesn't matter if you're the president, you pay your $1 fine,
Doesn't Congress have immunity coming and going now?
Oh, I'm sure they probably do.
So now speed on the horse all you want.
Yeah. It's like at the United Nations. You can't get arrested if you double park at the United Nations. So many diplomats there just kind of leave their car sometimes.
Like you left it all over Hillsdale when you drove the weatherbug down there?
Wasn't that fun? They let me.
And you parked where you weren't supposed to, and that was super embarrassing.
Well, except that they let me do that. I asked. I got permission.
Oh, you did?
Oh yeah. I did that in Grand Rapids too.
I didn't know that part.
Police let me pull up on the sidewalk once when I was doing the weather downtown. I was not blocking traffic or blocking pedestrian traffic or anything like that. But yeah.
Okay, so my next question was, how does anyone ever get the name Ulysses? And it turns out that it's a Latin form of Odysseus.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I know, right? And it means wrathful or full of anger.
Well, oh boy.
So, yeah, it's a cool name.
That's quite a combination. Ulysses, the wrathful, full of anger, becomes the president.
Yeah. He was named after a relative, and the S didn't stand for anything. He actually had a different first name, but then the record when he went to I don't remember, the military academy got messed up, and anyways, he became Ulysses S. Grant.
Okay, and the S stood for nothing?
Apparently.
Right. Who was another president who had a middle initial S that stood for nothing?
I don't know. Why don't we bring in the associate producer who knows everyone? Oh. All right, I'll be right back. Let's bring in Alec.
All right, is he there? Another president that had middle initial S, and the S didn't stand for anything.
FDR, guy after FDR, Truman.
Yep. What was it? I think he said the right answer.
He said Truman.
Truman, yes. Harry
Sorry,
S. Truman.
We get feedback on his mic when we're in the same room.
Wow.
Yeah.
Go Alex. Neat.
Okay, so another super fun story from this day. On April 27, 1915, the Belle Isle Bridge fire. Have you ever been to Belle Isle?
No.
Me neither. It sounds cool. Anyways, so the bridge opened in 1889 and it grew really popular really fast. And some people wanted to build a new bridge, and some people thought that was a giant waste of money. And wouldn't you know, the bridge went up in flames. And the cause was hot coals dropping from a city-owned wagon. They could never prove that it was arson, but they could never prove that it wasn't. And anyways, they got a new bridge for a cost of $3 million. They built a temporary bridge. Then they built a permanent bridge, which was restored in 1986. And fun fact, it's not really the Belle Isle Bridge. It's the Douglas MacArthur Bridge. But like the Sears Tower, the Belle Isle Bridge is still what everybody calls it.
That's interesting. Why would it be
Yeah.
called the Douglas MacArthur Bridge?
They just renamed it in honor of his military service.
Okay, but he has, it wasn't like he did some noble deed in Detroit or anything, right?
Not from what I could tell.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, no, I've never been to Belle Isle, tell you the truth.
So scandals, even back in 1915.
Yeah, well, there were more than one scandal back in 1915, I'm sure. But April 27, 1915, suspicious fire. All right, that's interesting.
Okay, so I did not put a lot of effort into today's show because we went on a hike and that was really fun. So I thought we would just look at pictures of my hike.
Oh, okay. That looks really neat. Notice the leaves are out on the trees in Alabama, not quite so
Yeah.
much here in Michigan.
So this is a nature preserve. It's about 30 minutes outside of Birmingham near Springville, Alabama. And this is where we went hiking today. Isn't it pretty?
Oh, that's very nice.
And they even allow horseback riding in the preserve.
That's neat. Wow.
Yeah.
You hear about the horse that got hurt?
Oh, dear.
We went to the hospital, and he was listed in stable condition. Stable condition.
Okay.
Hey, that's really neat. That's your trail, I take it, right along the creek.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
would
One of the
imagine there's-
reasons that we picked Alabama was for the hiking potential.
Neat.
Yeah.
They're Fallen Oak Trail. I would imagine that's trail maps in the mailbox there.
It's not a mailbox. It's just a sign.
Oh, it's just a sign. Oh, okay.
These ones were really easy. They were just loops. They were really hard to screw up.
Okay. Was it muddy there? It looks a little damp.
Yes, it was muddy.
Okay. You get a lot of rain there.
So
Wow.
where were we? You took this picture.
I took this picture. Well, let's see. Let me see what the clues are here. I can see palm trees. I can see a bit of an island off there. It's coming into focus here. It is Nassau, the Bahamas.
Very good.
Yes.
So I try to be pragmatic when we pick the hotels. We try to do the most convenient location, but also not break the bank. So this was the Courtyard Marriott, I think. Yeah.
That was a wonderful vacation, by the way. The temperature was about 80 during the afternoon for a high. It was about 65 at night. Light winds, beautiful sunshine, great food, friendly people. I just really enjoyed my trip to Nassau.
And your fun fact, no one from the Bahamas has ever participated in a Winter Olympics.
Which cannot be said about Jamaica, because there was the Jamaica bobsled team.
They have, however, been quite successful in their Summer Olympics with 8 gold medals total, mostly in athletics, 1 in sailing, and they had 18 Olympians in Paris 2024.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I would think that they could do sailing from down there, and I would think you could do track. I mean, there's some nice roads there that are on flat ground where you could train there and everything. So yeah.
So the most eventful thing that happened on that trip was that we went a back way to get to this tourist destination that was supposed to be really pretty. And we watched this kind of assault thing happen, and some guy almost threw a bottle at another guy. And
Well, he did throw a bottle at another guy. It went
he
right
did?
over my head. He certainly did.
Yeah, it was the whole thing.
Yeah, he was not concentrating on me, fortunately. But yeah,
Yes.
that was interesting. What else do I remember about that trip? The stray dogs and cats that would show up every night at the same time to rifle through one of the garbage cans there and then move on to the next one.
And they had a parade while we were there. That was
Oh,
really
the parade. Oh, that was
Yeah.
amazing. What was that again?
some kind of, I don't know. They had all the school kids
Yes,
out,
and
out dancing.
a lot of drums and horns and dancing, and the parade went incredibly slow. The what was it? It only covered like 2 blocks, and then people wound up in the grandstand there. But lots of people.
Mhm.
Yeah, neat. Well, we have come to the end of our show. Hope you have yourself a nice Sunday, last Sunday of the month of April. A lot of beautiful weather across not just Grand Rapids here, but throughout the entire Great Lakes region. So get out and enjoy, and keep an eye out for potential severe weather, and that would occur Monday. Most of it may be off to the west of us, but we're going to watch Monday night and on Tuesday. Have a great day, everybody. Thanks for watching to the end.